The judiciary is the only element in the government of Guam that has a continuing appropriation right now. And so in the language that the legislature passed in the Budget Act, it continued to carry over its past due unreleased appropriations authority. And
Court Policy Planning and Communications Director Josh Tenorio says before the Calvo administration took office, the judiciary was owed $1.8 million in past due appropriations. In a meeting on Monday with the governor and his chief fiscal policy advisor Bernie Otero, Chief Justice F. Philip Carbullido explained the court's financial shortfall that resulted in a deficit reduction plan that included a 36-hour work week beginning in May.
Chief Justice Carbullido told the governor that if he were able to release that amount, then we would be able to cancel the stated plans to conduct the furlough or reduction of hours beginning in May. And so the governor did make a commitment to release $1.2 million of that $1.8 million, and the judiciary has agreed that the other $600,000 would be written off, and we call it a wash.
As we reported, the court's deficit reduction plan was threefold to address a $1.3 million shortfall. The Judicial Council approved reducing non-personnel operating expenses by more than $600,000, increasing court fees, and implementing the reduced work week. While the latter was averted, the judiciary still takes issue with provisions contained in Bill 507 that reduces the salaries of all unclassified employees in the government of Guam who make an annual base salary of $50,000 or more.
Based on the kind of level of expertise and establishing a compensation structure to attract and retain individuals, with a 10% cut, many of them, including the marshal and the chief probation officer, will now be making less money than their classified employees that they're supervising. And so, in some cases, it may be more attractive to leave the leadership position to return to classified service, or in some cases, and there potentially may be four in which these managers are now deciding whether or not to go ahead and retire.
Tenorio says more than 23 unclassified workers at the court will be impacted by Bill 507, which will result in a savings of approximately $200,000. But the law doesn't allow the court to use that money towards its shortfall, instead deappropriating it and giving it to the Guam Memorial Hospital. Chief Justice Carbullido, in a letter to Speaker Judy Wanpat today, requested the legislature repeal the provisions in Bill 507 that impact the judiciary, saying the reduction on top of the $1.3 million reduction in the fiscal year 2013 operating budget is a major setback for the courts. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Mindy Egan.